Welcome back to A&E. I just want to do a quick video on headlight restoration. And I don't know how many's on the internet, I haven't looked. That's the after. Let me show you before. That's a before headlight, you know, the typical yellowing, dullness of the plastic headlight. And I haven't put the polish on it yet or the wax. That is simply after the sanding. But you see how clear that is as compared to that. So all the little wipe on chemicals you see on the internet, you know, those are probably short-term fixes. The plastic is actually disintegrating. The sun is rotting it on the surface. Just under that nice yellow cloudy surface, it's still clear. And like I say, I haven't put the polish or the wax on it. I've just been wet sanding it. But that's what it'll look like once I get the polish and the wax on it. So what I do is, and this is wet sanding, you don't dry sand. It's 3 steps in this. Well, actually, let's say 5. Step 1, take 600 grit sandpaper. That's what you're gonna sand. That's your first sanding pass, is the 600 grit sandpaper. And this sandpaper, I have used this particular piece of sandpaper on many vehicles. 600 grit. Wet your headlight. I just use a spray bottle. It keeps you from having, you know, too big of a mess. Wet the headlight down thoroughly. Wet your sandpaper thoroughly. Start sanding in a circular motion, you know, wax on, wax off kind of deal. Circular. With a nice even pressure. I know you've got, you know, that's why you're sanding in a circle. You don't want the fingerprints in the sand. You don't want sanding marks. So circular, 600 grit all the way around. That yellow will start coming off, and your water, you know, residue that you're sanding in will start turning yellow. Keep it wet. Stop sanding for a minute. Spray it. Rinse it off with your spray bottle. Start back sanding. Sand until it first turns milky and then actually starts clearing up. You're done with the 600 grit. Next step is 1500 grit. It's 1500 grit sandpaper. That's step 2. You'll sand with the 1500 grit sandpaper, basically to take out the 600 grit sanding marks. So keep it wet. Rinse it with the spray bottle. Wet sand, you know, wax on, wax off, 1500 grit. You'll start to feel the difference. When you start with the 600 grit, it's rough because you're removing that top layer of rotten plastic. When you move to the 1500 grit, it's going to be smoother. And as you sand with the 1500 grit, it's going to get even smoother. All right, so once it smooths and you're not getting so much of the milky stuff, the milky colored water, rinse it off, go with the 3000 grit. Do the same thing. And by this time, it's gonna feel like you're basically wiping a paper towel over glass. That's how smooth it's gonna get. 3000 grit, get it really good. Once it gets to where you're, you know, cleaning glass, rinse it off thoroughly with the spray bottle. Rinse all that stuff off. Okay, let it dry. What you're gonna do is you're gonna get a polishing compound. And, you know, just like if you were gonna wax your car, if you had some areas where you needed polish that has, you know, very mild abrasives, you would polish before you waxed. So that's what you do with these headlights. You put 1, 2, 3 coats of polish on, whatever you feel like. I usually put at least 2 with the polish. Then the final step, I'll put at least 1 or 2 coats of wax. that will seal your headlight. You know, you put all that work and effort into it, that will seal your headlight and make it last, you know, as long as it can. You may have to go back and reapply some polish or some wax, but that's how you take care of these plastic headlights. 600 grit, 1500 grit, 3000 grit. Keep it wet with the spray bottle. Rinse your paper and your headlight frequently. And once you polish and wax that, it's going to look so much better, and your headlights are actually going to be able to do their job. Help you see that road clearly. Don't pay attention to the bad paint job on the hood. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope y'all can use this. It's really easy, and if you've got sandpaper in your garage, it won't cost you a dime. Otherwise, it may cost you a couple of pieces of sandpaper. Have a good day. Just remember, be kind to one another.